Hi, this is Mr. Barr, and this is the Finding Slope lesson. Let's get started. Our learning goal: I can use line equations to solve real-life problems. Why? Line equations will help me understand the world around me and make predictions. Do you know how to measure the length of a room? Do you know how to measure the weight of a person? Do you know how to measure how steep a hill is? Today you're going to learn how to measure the steepness of a line. This steepness is called slope. By the end of today, you'll be able to measure the slope of a line. So right here, I have three different mountains. And if we were to talk about these mountains, which one would you think is the steepest? Well, by looking at it, I feel like probably A is the steepest one here. Well, what about B and C? Which one is steeper here? Is B steeper than C? Probably. It's kind of a toss-up. This is why we need a measurement. Because if we had an exact number attached to each of these, we could easily tell which one is the steepest. Just like if I had weights. Which weight weighs more? That one or that one? Which one weighs more? Well, without having a number on it, if I tell you this is 15 pounds and I tell you this is 20 pounds, well then it's easy to say that this one weighs more. Same thing here. If I tell you that this one has a slope or a steepness of 1 and this one has a steepness of 0.7, you can easily tell me that this one is steeper. And that's why we need to have a measurement for the steepness of a line. So there are four types of slopes out there, and these are the four, and we're going to get them into our notes. So our notes are going to start with the name and our title, which is Finding Slope. So start with your name. And our title is Finding Slope. And quickly, we're going to need four little coordinate systems to identify the four types of slopes out there. These are not the measurements yet. These are just types of slope. So I've got this guy right here, and this is a positive. This one right here is a negative. And one easy way to tell if it's positive or negative is to write your name on it. If I write my name on the line, and it's going uphill, it's positive. If I write my name on the line, and it's going downhill, it's negative. The other two types of slopes, this guy is a zero slope, and this one is undefined. Zero slope kind of makes sense if I write my name on it and it just sits there, right? It's just sitting there. It's not going up. It's not going down. That's a zero slope. And right here, if I try to write my name on it, what's going to happen? My name just falls away. I can't. I can't even. Mr. Blah. I can't even do anything. My name just falls off. It's undefined. I can't even write my name. Try to write the word undefined on this line, and it just falls off, right? So that's an undefined slope. Okay, we're going to watch a quick little video on slope, and you're going to tell me if it's positive, negative, when you look at each of these lines. Let me go get the video ready, and we'll keep going. Hopefully I'm not going to get a copyright strike on my YouTube account. I'll be right back with the video. And I am back with The extreme slope video. Okay, here we go. Look at that right there. Is this a positive or a negative slope? That is a negative slope. Right there, what is this? This is a positive slope. Notice if I wrote my name on it, it would be going uphill. Right there, positive or negative? That's a negative slope. Positive or negative? Right here, this is a negative slope. Consuming, confusing, this lack of self-control I fear is never ending. Controlling. Right there, that little ramp, that is a positive slope. I can't seem to find myself again. My walls are closing in. Without a sense of confidence, I'm convinced that there's just too much pressure to take. I felt this way before. Right there, this right here, if I wrote my name on it, it would be going up, so it is a positive slope. So insecure. Right here, it's going uphill, which means it would be a positive slope. Right here, if I wrote my name on this ramp, it would be going downhill, which means it is a negative slope. The longest motorcycle could jump in history. All right, so positive, negative, undefined, and zero slopes. Those are the 4 types of slopes. We just watched this extreme slope video, and I would do slope aerobics with you now if we were in class. So let's do some slope aerobics. Let's see if I can do this with my camera. Okay, here we go. Slope aerobics. Slope aerobics would be like this. I would put my arms out, and I would say, is it a positive or a negative slope? So from your viewpoint, what does this look like? It's hard because I'm on a camera, and hopefully that would be a negative slope, I think. That would be a positive slope. Negative, positive. What's this one? That one will be right. That is a zero slope and undefined. Zero, undefined. Negative for your viewpoint, right? Yes, and positive from your viewpoint. And hopefully the camera's not switching it all around. Okay, so that was slope aerobics. And, okay, so here's the definition of slope. And we're going to be doing this one so many times. So the definition of slope is rise over run. Definition of slope. Slope equals rise over run. Slope equals rise over run. And, of course, I've got a good song for this one. This is such an awesome lesson. Okay. We've got a song and a dance. Can I do it? I'll be right over here. Song and dance time. Where's my camera? I'm on it. Right. Okay. Where am I? Right there. Right there. Okay, here we go. This is the slope song, and it goes like this. It goes, ready? It starts like this. rise over run, rise over run, the slope is defined, rise over run, dump, 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 rise over run, rise over run, the slope is defined, rise over run. That is the definition of slope in a sing-song voice. All right, rise over run. Back to the notes. Definition of slope is rise over run. So what is that? Oh, and look at that. You will have to add your own negative if necessary. Add a negative if the line is negative. All right, so slope is rise over run. So what does that even mean for us? Okay, so here's how I find slope. We're going to do this one in our notes. And we're even going to make a little flow map for this. Now I realized we're doing this in our notebook, and it's kind of tough unless you have a graph paper notebook. So imagine that I have 2 points. Actually, don't imagine, because I'm going to have 2 points. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so I have a point right here at 4, not 4, 2, 4. There's a point right there, and I have another point at 0, 1. And between those 2 points, I have a line. And I want to find the slope of this line. Well, here are the steps to find it. Step 1. Find 2 good points. Good points are going to be points where the line perfectly crosses the graph paper. Now in this case, I'm using my notes, so I've already given you the 2 good points. When I do some examples, you'll see how to find 2 good points. Find 2 good points. 2, draw a slope triangle. So between those 2 good points, I'm going to draw in a triangle. Now, if you remember doing Pythagorean theorem, it's actually the same type of thing that we did with Pythagorean theorem. We took the 2 good points and we drew in a right triangle. Now I'm going to count the rise. This is number 3. I'm going to count the rise and the run. I also did this with the Pythagorean theorem. I counted 1, 2. That's my run. And I count 1, 2, 3. This is my rise. When I was doing Pythagorean theorem, I would use those 2 numbers to find the hypotenuse. But today, I just have to count the run and count the rise. Step 4, put the rise over the run. Rise is 3, and the run is 2. The last step is if it's a negative line, which this is not, but if it were negative, I would have to add a negative. Add a negative. If the line is negative. And that's how I find the slope. So let's do some examples here. And I'm going to keep those notes available right there so I can remember my steps. Okay, so I find two good points. There's a good point. There's a good point. I draw on a slope triangle. Slope triangle. I count the rise and the run. The run is 1. The rise is 1, 2, 3. I put the rise over the run, and I think, is it a negative line or a positive line? This is positive, so I don't have to do anything. That's the slope of the line. Let's do it again. I find two good points. There's a good point. There's a good point. Let's see, is this a good point? No, no, no. There's another good point right there. Does not matter which two I use. Between the two, I draw on a slope triangle. I count the rise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I count the run, 1, 2. I put the rise over the run. I think it's a positive line, so I don't have to do anything. I am done. I start by finding two good points. There's a good point. No, no, yes, there's a good point. I draw on a slope triangle. I count the rise, which is 10. I count the run, which is 1, 2, 30. I put the rise over the run. In this case, it can simplify to 1/3. I think about the line. This line is positive, so my answer is 1/3. I haven't seen a negative line yet. I look at the line, I find two good points. Here's a good point, there's a good point. Believe it or not, there's also a good point right here. It does not matter which two good points you use. I draw on the rise, I draw on my slope triangle. My rise is 1, 2, 3, 4. In this case, it's 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 70. I put the rise over the run. This reduces to 4/7. But look at the line. Mr. Barr is negative, so I have to add a negative to it because it's a negative slope. And my answer is negative 4/7. I start by finding two good points. There's a good point, and there's a good point. I draw on my slope triangle. I count the rise, which is 2. I count the run, which is 1, 2, 3. I put 2/3. Oh, it's a negative line, so I need a negative on the slope. Can we find the rise and run without counting squares? Well, this is the same thing we did with Pythagorean theorem. If I want to, I can stack the points. From 8 to 2, how did it change? From 8 to 2, it went down by 6. From 6 to 3, how did it change? 6 to 3, it went down by 3. Notice that this right here, this is the x-axis, or the run. And this would be the y, which is the rise. So this is your rise, and this is your run. Rise over run, which simplifies to 1/2. Notice 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3/6, 1/2. If you don't understand this method, that's okay. You can do it by counting squares. All right, I'm going to do this one. I can stack my points. 1, 6, -3, -2. From 1 to -3 is a change of -4. From 6 to -2 is a change of -8. So my rise is -8, and my run is -4, which becomes 8 over 4, which is 2 over 1, which is 2. If you don't like this method, that's fine. Let's count squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 over 4, which equals 2. All right. Slope is also called the rate of change. We're going to put that into our notes. Slope is also called the rate of change. Means the same thing. Is the sign on your calculated slope correct? Always think about that positive versus negative. Stop and think. Right. Let's try this one. Yeah. So this guy right here, if you want to graph it, you could, but it's going to be much easier. Let's find the slope. Let's do it. Eight, 9, and 23, 40. So I'm going to stack those points. 8, 9, 23, 40. Tell me, how did it change? I was at 8 and now I'm at 23. That's a change of 15. I was at 9 and now I'm at 40. That's a change of 31. This is my rise. This is my run. So it's 31 over 15. If you don't like that method, get a piece of graph paper out and plot the points. All right, and this one would be the same type of idea. Okay, you know what? I'm going to add one final thing to these notes. And I want you to remind me to check this when you come to class. Because I think some of you are going to stop taking notes before you get to the end. So ready? If you want to get full credit on today's notes, at the very end, I want to see a picture of a house. So at the very end of these notes, I want to see a picture of a house. And why? Because on top of the roof, I want you to write slope. This is the slope house. I expect to see that on the notes when you show them to me. And if you don't do it, I'm not sure, well, you're going to have to finish it to get credit for them then, okay? Just trying to make sure you watch all the way to the end. Thanks for watching and have a good day.